Hello and welcome to Palace Fan TV for Jim and Jay's final say post West Brom game. And guess what? Another defeat for Palace. These are getting quite regular now, aren't they? It was a weird game. It was very much a game of two halves. And in fact, actually, Palace have been here for having seasons of two halves, haven't they? In the last couple of seasons, first two seasons in the Premier League were a bad to start with, and then turned it around. This season, fantastic to start with, and it's all fallen apart in 2016 or since Christmas, really. And it was again that sort of lack of consistency at West Brom on Saturday night. Palace were terrible in the first half, and at half time something happened, and they were much better in the second half. Well, actually, if we say something happened, Yannick Bolasie came on. Now I think we need to start off by admitting that we miss him desperately, and far from being a one-man team, we are definitely a lot less clinical going forward than when he's not around. And I absolutely pray he's available for the start of the Sunderland game, because I think we need him. We just look we've got a bit more energy, a bit more drive when he's on the pitch. So that changed at half time, but I don't understand why Palace were so bad in the first half. The defence in particular was awful, and this is a defence that has been one of the rock, one of the reasons that we've been so good in the last couple of years and turned it around, is that solid defence. Certainly under Pulis, and even last season when under Pardew in the second half of the season. But at the moment they look an absolute shambles. West Brom before the game had the second lowest amount of goals scored in the Premier League. They were also the lowest for shots to goal ratio and shots on goal and lots of other stats. So really, for them to be 3-0 up at half time, score 3 goals in 19 minutes was unacceptable, really. And the manner of the goals as well. I mean, Berahino's, the third, was a nice one, but the defending for Dawson's header was terrible. The defending for the first goal wasn't brilliant, and should Hennessy have done better as well. It's just a bit of a mess, really, and there's no real explanation behind it, because it's the same back four that we've had mostly on and off for the last couple of seasons, and they've been fairly reliable. No Suarez, of course. Kelly is back in, and Kelly was good against Spurs last week. Same back four that was at Spurs and played very well. So I don't understand. They seem to have this mental block about playing in the league, and especially against teams that are down with them. Well, we're now down in the bottom half of the league. So it was bizarre, really. But we've got to look at some positives. It was a good comeback in the second half. 2 good goals from Connor Wickham. Second one, contender for goal of the season, really. So at least we know he can score goals, and we thought that before, really, hadn't we? But this is actual proof now that he can definitely score from open play. First goal from open play, but proves he can do that job up top. And to be honest, he looked better without Adebayor. It was a sort of 4-4-2 in the first half, but Adebayor ends up being that lone man, and Wickham has to kind of roam a bit or go left or whatever. And when Adebayor went off at half time, Bolasie comes on, we look a bit more solid. We sort of know what we're doing. Bolasie's on one side, Wilf on the other, Wickham in the middle. And Much, actually, I thought, who did sort of start on the left and came in the middle second half, I thought had a very good game. And quietly over the last couple of weeks, he hasn't been taking the headlines, but he's actually been putting in some good performances. Now he's got a run in the team. So that was good from Wickham. And obviously we talked about Bolasie. He's back and he gives us a real boost. But there's a lot of question marks over the rest of the team. The defence is struggling. Cabaye, as much as we love him, has had a really poor couple of weeks, if not months. Really is not grabbing hold of games. Looks a bit disinterested sometimes when it's not going his way. Joe Ledley, of course, good squad player, will do a job, but when Cabaye's not on it, Ledley seems to be a bit lost as well. So it's a lot of players not quite hitting their mark, and yet, this is a good Palace team, a very good team. It's a very good first 11, a lot of quality in there, but for some reason, at times it's not clicking, and it's sad that it needs to go, the team going 3-0 down to West Brom, of all teams, to turn it around in the second half. Yes, we should have had 2 penalties. Bolasie was fouled. Dan was definitely fouled. And another day, maybe you score those and you win 4-3, and it's an incredible comeback. And in the second half, they definitely deserved something. But if you're going 3-0 down, you're giving yourselves an incredible mountain to climb, and really, you argue you don't really deserve anything, letting in that many goals in such a short space in the first half and being so poor. So, again, a game of two halves. But this is the Palace that we know and love. But it is getting a bit desperate now. 10 games without a win. Have to win at Sunderland. Don't like to use the phrase "must win," but anything other than a win at Sunderland, I think, and we are in a relegation fight. Really, it's difficult to say otherwise. So there you go. let's see what Jay says from the Eagles Beak. I suspect he won't be much more upbeat, but this is what we're going through at the moment. We were told Pardew went on his teams to go on these runs, and that's exactly what's happening. So hopefully we'll turn it around. I think we'll do enough to stay up, because I think there's worse teams than us down there, but who knows? And we've got a cup run as well. Sometimes we've seen with other teams, Birmingham and Wigan, you can have a good cup run, it can distract you from the league. So maybe that's happening to us. Anyway, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet. It's February. Click that button. Subscribe now for Palace Fan TV previews, reviews, and all sorts of things. Comment below with your thoughts on the game, if you feel like it, if you want to relive that madness. And follow us on Instagram and Snapchat. And here's Jay from the Eagles Beak. And I'll see you again soon, hopefully, after a Palace win.
Hey guys, welcome back to Palace Fan TV, and this is the latest episode of Jim and Jay's Final Say. Looking back on the disappointing defeat at West Brom. A real back to earth of a bump feeling after the win at White Hart Lane last weekend in the FA Cup. And the FA Cup seems to be clearly a distraction. I mean, the first half today was inexcusable, awful, absolutely terrible. Didn't seem to be any drive, any fight from the players. It just seems so lacklustre, and it's clear that while the 4-4-2 kind of formation perhaps worked for us against Spurs last week, just about, it was never going to be enough in this game. But to be fair, to give the other side of the story, I've spoken to West Brom fans since the end of the game, and he said that's the best 45 minutes they've had all season. Now, whether we made them look good, but one really good goal from them, to be fair. I mean, 3-0 down at half time. No excuses whether they played really well or not. We just weren't at it, weren't in the game whatsoever. And it's hard to pinpoint what was wrong at all. It just was so unlike a Palace side. It really was. There was no player really willing to put to put themselves on the edge and really get stuck in. It just seemed such an odd performance that first 45 minutes. I'm not a negative person at all, and I always think that come the end of the season we'll be looking back thinking, what we worried about, some of these games. But this is 2 months now without a Premier League win. Was actually more than that, because I think it was Stoke a few weeks before, a week before Christmas was it? I think now seems that long ago. I can't actually pinpoint when it was. So 2 months of 2016, and we've seen out February with just 1 point to our name in the Premier League, and that's just not good enough. It really isn't. I mean, we set our own standards at the start of the season. We have a squad of players which were capable, as they proved, to get us into the top 4 or 5 of the Premier League. Punching above our weight is obviously is a comment that comes to mind, really, because while I actually thought when we had our players fully fit back again, that squad to choose from, we would pick things up again. And while we haven't got everybody back, we're still missing Punchin and MacArthur. It's no excuse. Didn't start Bolasie today. Clearly, he's not quite match fit. And perhaps the game at Sunderland on Tuesday is one that we're going to start him at. But it's disappointing for him not to start. And it showed the second half. When he started that second half, we looked at a different side. And he didn't have any involvement in the goal. But that goal, I actually tweeted on social media that if we get an early goal in that second half, we're back in the game. We've got a real chance of coming back, because I don't believe West Brom are a side that could defend a three goal lead. As it turned out, they did, but we got 2 goals back. 2 goals from Connor Wickham. First one was a big mistake from the West Brom players, but he took it well. He followed it through, got the goal, and the second was an absolute cracker. Just as West Brom probably thought they'd got over a period of the game where we were really pushing them. We just couldn't find that third goal. I have to say, John Moss hasn't done us any favours at all. 2 clear penalty decisions. The first one on Scott Dan, where he's pushed off the ball by Macaulay. That was a definite penalty. And one on Bolasie, which is probably not as clear, but I still believe it's a penalty. There's 2 penalties he should have actually given. But for me, we've lost the game because of that terrible first half. You can't gloss over that. It's really difficult to know where we go from this point. I was expecting a reaction in the second half because the first half was so poor. And we did get that reaction from a majority of players. I was pleased for Wickham for getting 2 goals. He does seem to be a bit of a scapegoat at times, just as Jordan Much did. And Jordan Much I thought was good, really good today. Actually, probably the player out of the whole 90 minutes that actually put in, come out of it with too much credibility. I mean, that was something that really showed me is when he took a corner and West Brom broke, and he was the man bundling McLean off the ball on our goal line. I mean, that's the whole length of the pitch he got back for. So I think he gets a lot of stick for for a lot of things that go wrong with the team. But today I think he can't really fault too much that he did. But everyone that was in that first half has to have to have some blame with that poor first half performance. Adebayor was taken off at half time. He was kind of non-existent at first. It just doesn't want him and Wickham really. It's an odd combination, isn't it? 2 big men up front. We've been crying out for a big man to play alongside Gale earlier on in the season, and now we're not. Gale's come back. Hopefully he's fully fit, and perhaps he could start alongside Wickham on Tuesday against Sunderland. But I'm as disappointed as everybody else on social media tonight. I thought we would get something out of this game, whether it be a point or even 3 after the result in the FA Cup against Tottenham. It's kind of soured what we've done in the FA Cup. We're looking forward to a quarter-final game, a very winnable game against a Championship side, not getting too ahead of ourselves. But after tonight, it's hard to see how we're going to pick up points from here on in. I do believe we will get points between now and end of the season. It's going to be tough, but I think Balassi starting games is going to be key to that. Wilf was very frustrating tonight, as were several other players. I don't like to pinpoint names. Our defence looked all over the place in the first half. Joel Ward didn't have a great game, nor did Kelly. Wilf first half was almost non-existent. Didn't get decisions his way, but then he started moaning about them, and it's a typical way. I wish he'd just play with a smile on his face and get on with it. The rest of the side, Cabaye. He does he gets kicked every game. I'm aware of that, and he is a quality player. But I do sometimes think he's a sulky player. I think sulks a lot when he doesn't get his own way. When the game doesn't go his way, he does keep on going though. Maybe I'm saying the wrong thing. Maybe a lot of people see a lot more in Cabaye. Perhaps, but the last few games I kind of thought that he would be a player who would shine and kind of help pull us through some games. But maybe it's a lot to ask of one player. But it's a team game, and it was a terrible first half team performance. Second half was remarkably better, but we need to improve an awful lot. We can't go through the rest of the season with performances like that at any point of the game, let alone the whole first half. But it'd be great to hear what you guys have views on the game. Leave them underneath this video after you've heard from me and both Jim. Be interested to hear what everybody else's views are once the dust will settled a little bit, once this video goes up, because I think sometimes immediately on social media it goes a bit crazy and it's just kind of knee-jerk reactions. But it's not knee-jerk. It's 2 months now that we've struggled to get anything. Like I say, we've got a point in 2 months. And that's just not good enough, really. And we're still on 32 points. We're 8 points away from relegation zone. I hate to say that word. Never thought I'd actually come to say it by the time the season comes to a close. But we need to start looking over our shoulder a little bit, and we need to buck up our ideas. And I'm sure a lot of you will probably agree with that. Hopefully we have a few better things to say after the Sunderland game, and obviously we've got Liverpool next week as well, which is again live on TV. Hopefully put in a better showing than that in that game for live TV coverage. But we'll catch up with you soon. Please share these videos, subscribe. Also follow Palace Fan TV on Twitter, Snapchat and Facebook. And please share these videos with everybody else. Want people to comment, interact and everything. So thanks for watching as ever, and we'll catch you soon. Goodbye.